me too. Is it doing the swoop back over the top again?
I think you kind of have like a mohawk going on today. I'm having a bad hair day too. I think maybe we need like the headphones and microphones. Then we look professional. Don't you see everybody on their podcast and they have like, they're at their desk with their headphones and stuff? How come we're not cool? Like, we're not real yet.
Welcome to the low budget.
The low budget podcast. Yeah. But you know what I mean? We got to think about that. Then it would take away from having a bad hair day because you have the headphones. That's what matters.
I'm not too concerned about that.
About what? Having a bad hair day?
That's
You're a boy.
That's true.
Okay, so it's March.
Right.
Okay, spring cleaning time.
That is our theme this month.
Fabry here in Idaho is not really spring, but I have been intrigued this year. Okay, I can't tell you how many friends and neighbors have been like, oh my goodness, like it's still snowy, like I'm so sick of it. And I'm thinking, they have lived here a lot longer than I have. And don't they know it's February, like end of February, start of March? Like it always snows here.
It's starting to get hope, but
there's no hope till June. Okay, but still, if we're going to do some spring cleaning, we want to spring clean ourselves this year along with our home. The things that go into our home.
And all our bodies and...
Yeah, everything. So it's kind of interesting because I personally think like spring cleaning, like what products are in the basket that people are going to clean their home with, right? And it's kind of horrible.
It is bad.
I look back, I was completely ignorant to this. Like, this is like a recent discovery for me of digging into the research and seeing like, oh my goodness, like these things actually impact.
The usual cleaners and things that people use to make their homes smell good are full of toxic chemicals that disrupt our hormone system and cause cancer.
Like, great. Okay, who would think that like, oh, it's my laundry detergent? But do you think about your laundry detergent? It literally is on your clothes that you wear over your entire body every single day. I mean, the pots and pans you cook in, the toothpaste, like, I mean, it's literally everywhere. But then I think people get like overwhelmed or they think you're like freaking out for nothing. Like, oh, well, you have no control. Like, you think you could control all the toxins in this environment? Like, you'll never get ahead.
No, you can't, but you can inside of your home.
Right. And you can do some things. Like, maybe you can't get rid of everything. But, like, doesn't mean, like, throw up your hands in despair and be like, well, I just won't do anything then.
Well, you also have to have some
disruption.
You do have to have free radicals in your environment because if it was all...
like you lived in a little bubble.
You have to have some oxidative stress, right? So all this stuff coming out here pre-COVID or post-COVID, us sterilizing our entire environment is actually being very bad for us, and it's disrupting our immune systems, and it's making people sick, and
your guts are wrecked.
Our guts are wrecked. The great one I saw yesterday was about a vaccine actually disrupting your microbiome.
Yeah.
Just crazy stuff coming out, but you can't completely sterilize your environment or you're going to get sick, but you also can't have a low
tons of toxins
environment or you're going to get sick. So hopefully, we've got a few things we can share with you here that kind of keep you right down the middle.
It's kind of like how I feel with food sometimes. Well, I'm more extreme with food, but going with the premise that like in my house, I can control that because when I go out, I really don't have as much control, right? Same with food. Like if I'm eating out at a restaurant, I still have limited control. I mean, I can control what I order, but I'm not controlling exactly what's put in that food, right? Like yesterday, so sad, the whole Chipotle, like they use bad seed oils, right? And it was like an exorbitant amount of seed oils that's put into their meat, which not shocking, but it's like, okay, but of my better options that I can eat at without getting sick,
right,
Chipotle is probably still going to be on my list. So I'm going to consume some bad stuff when I'm there. So at home, I'm going to be sure I don't use that. So I think that's like how it is with your toxins in your house. Like,
right,
I can't control what fragrance, my bathroom at my work has the automatic, scent things that blow. I probably can't change that.
Right.
But I can change one in my house. So I think that's kind of like what we can do in our house. So let's tackle that down. Like, what would we look at? Because I think people do get overwhelmed. So when you're spring cleaning, you take it either room by room or, I mean, do you spring clean?
No.
CC does well. So I just try to think of like what that looks like. I would say when a product runs out, replace it.
Right.
Then you don't feel like, oh, I have to go spend thousands of dollars and get all this new stuff. It's like, no, just when my Tide runs out, I'm going to replace it with a cleaner option.
Right.
So when my soap, antibacterial soap, please, people, chuck the antibacterial soap for your hand soap. You don't need it. Replace it with a better one.
Without fragrances, without.
Yeah. And that's the key, right?
People are going to ask us for specific brands, which we will load. We'll put it in our Amazon store and put it in.
But there's hundreds. So it's like we can say our favorites, but I mean, if you want to go hands down cleanest cleaning products, Wrench Basics is the best.
Right.
You have to order it. It comes with a concentrate and you add water and it cleans everything. Literally, like it can make your soap, your laundry soap, your window cleaner, your all-purpose cleaner, everything. It comes up continually with every review I read, the cleanest.
Right.
But there are some other good options too. I suggest getting the app. Makes it easy. And just avoid the ones that have the red. Like, it breaks it down so you have hazardous chemicals and then like moderate risk. I mean, I'm not going to even go with the moderate risk, but at least as a baby step, you could say I'm going to get rid of hazardous risks.
Right.
So that would be all of your cleaning stuff, your laundry soap. Then we got to think like, maybe think about your pots and pans. When your Tefal is chipping off and you're time to replace your pot.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's an interesting thing because you bring up Teflon, all this non-stick stuff that we have in our kitchen. Well, we used to have in our kitchen. It's a forever chemical. Like once they produce it, it doesn't go away from our environment at all. There's links to those particular, specifically with non-stick cookware, to disruptive microbiomes and cancer. So, and the stuff is just junk. Like it just doesn't last. If you don't clean it just right, like it's
right. But people like it because nothing sticks to you. Like I think that's the draw, right? That's how they get you. It's like, oh, I can just flip my pancake, or
I can flip our pancakes just as well with cast iron that we've taken care of.
Right.
It costs a fraction of what some of these expensive pans cost. It's bulletproof, literally. You can scrape the living daylights out of it with whatever you want. And it just, I'm a big fan of cast iron. Plus, when you cook with cast iron, you're actually adding iron into your food. So you're consuming iron versus consuming Teflon.
Right.
So if it's, if Teflon or if nonstick is a forever chemical, well, cast iron's actually a forever
mineral.
A forever product. Like it's not going to go away. They're literally generational. Someone from our family is going to inherit my stack of cast iron that we've got in the pantry. Like it doesn't break down.
Right. And there are other options too, because we don't have a cast iron stock pot to,
right,
boil water in.
Right.
So like we have ceramic for that. So like there are other options. But then I think you have to take it that step further and realize like it took us a little bit. We were like, oh, like our waffle iron, or oh, the griddle. Like, so just gradually, don't be completely overwhelmed and think like, be afraid to cook. Like just gradually replace them,
Or look at what you have. Like look at your inventory that you have and just make a plan to replace one piece a month.
Right.
That way you're not like, oh my gosh, because, a nice waffle iron.
Right. A couple $100.
They're not cheap.
Right.
But in the long run, then what's your health worth? Right. I remember when I was at Weber State, talking to my biochemistry professor, and he was talking about this way back then about aluminum cookware and getting rid of your aluminum cookware, and my brain back then was like, well, that's expensive. And he's like, yeah, but what's it worth in the long run? That still just
right
kind of stinks.
Yeah. From we had done it way back.
Right.
Okay, so cookware. Oh, let's talk water.
Okay.
You know,
Filter it.
filter your water. Oh, speaking of filters, that's another great thing for your home. Be sure you replace your air filter.
Right.
Like you can get really high tech and get those awesome total home filtration systems, which would be awesome.
Right.
But you could at least just make sure yours is cleaned and actually filtering the air.
Check with your service, whoever services your HVAC system, are the company that we use that they just happen to put it when we built our house. They actually have a quarterly service. I don't even think about it. They call me and say, "We got a guy on the way." They show up there, replace the filter.
Right.
Or if you're a do-it-yourself person, filters are what, like $15 at Walmart? You just replace the dang thing on a quarterly basis.
On a quarterly basis, tell a reminder.
Or invest a ton. We're talking about how do we go from water to air that quick.
Filter.
We're done with filter. So back to the water thing, it doesn't need to be expensive or fancy. Like you can literally go to Walmart and buy a Brita filter.
Right.
And just keep it in the fridge, hopefully in a glass pitcher, not in a plastic pitcher.
Right.
But you can go that direction, or there's some expensive like in-home or whole home reverse osmosis that will filter the junk out of your tap water or even your well water. I mean, everybody here's like, "Oh, I've got well water." Well, guess what? All that farmland that's around you, it's been sprayed with all of that chemical to grow the crops. Guess where that that goes? It's in your groundwater. You still need a filter.
Right. And recognize that you can go the Brita route. You're not getting everything. I mean, you are getting what you pay for.
Right.
It is better, but I don't want people listening to the podcast and being like, "Oh, that's all I need is a Brita." Better than nothing.
The one we have is very, very good. It's made by a company that I no longer endorse, but it's a great filter, and there's good things out there. We have resources and directions we can play on these as well.
And don't drink out of plastic water.
Yes. So plastic water bottles, we have this bad habit of leaving them in the trunk of our car, or every time we warm that plastic up, it's leaching chemicals into your water. Plus, they're terrible for the environment. When they actually put the water in the bottle's warm, so it immediately starts leaching up chemicals. It's better than soda, but still.
Right. It's just like if you're going to drink water, just carry around a aluminum container and have water.
Stainless steel.
Stainless steel, sorry. Aluminum. It's silver looking. Anyway, those are everywhere.
Right.
I mean, they're actually the trend.
Stanley's onto something, Dave.
So. Okay, what now? We've talked about our environment. We've talked about our home. We talked personal care in this?
We haven't talked about it.
Okay, so your personal care products, huge. So think in your bathroom. Every product you put on your body, your skin, your largest organ, hands down, is going to absorb, and it's direct to your bloodstream. I mean, think about how many medicines people take that are topical. Why? Why are they effective?
They're absorbed through your skin.
Right into the bloodstream, right? So is your toxic soap and your lotion and your sunscreen and your makeup and everything like that. So I think if you're going to go the route there, I always think the ones that you don't rinse off have a higher priority than the ones you do. They're all important, but I mean, shampoo is not on your head for very long, and it's rinsed out compared to lotion.
Right.
That sits there all day. Deodorant's a huge.
Yeah, I think deodorant is number one. It's the easiest one to change.
Right. And it might take a little playing around. I've probably bought 8 just because I like to try new ones and be like, ooh, which one do I like better? To find the one that you like the best, whether that's the scent or the way it feels or rolls on or whatever. But it's not a hard change compared to putting,
well, the skin in your armpit is some of the most absorbable skin. Like when we use some of the topical glutathiones and things that we have, we tell people to rub it on their wrists, on the pits of their elbows, or even in the armpit. That's where the skin is super absorbable. And we're literally rubbing aluminum on there every day because for some reason it's not okay to have a little sweat like that. How do we come to that? We all sweat. We're all human.
Well, and we should sweat.
And we should sweat. We're designed to sweat.
I mean, that's how you get rid of some toxins.
Right.
So, Hey, but then plastic surgeons couldn't make their money doing let me stop your pits from sweating procedures.
There is that.
There is that. Okay. So lastly, we got to, if we're going to clean our environment, you'd want to clean your insides too. So cleaning the environment is going to clean our outsides, right? Which moves in, absorbs in, but now we got to do what's in, going to go out.
So we focused a little bit from the weekly videos on the cardiovascular system.
Wait, let's explain. I mean, explain the CVS.
Well, no, it's your heart and your arteries, your veins, what your body uses to transport blood, right? So heart disease and cardiovascular disease has been in the top 10 forever.
And why?
Because we don't make changes. We just keep...
Well, I think it's incorrect information, too. Like, it's cholesterol. That's what causes heart disease.
No.
Right.
If we were right about that, we would have stopped it a long time ago. Like, we literally released statin drugs in the 60s. Yet cardiovascular disease is worse today than it's ever been.
Right.
Which I'm going to throw this in here, too. Now we think that... So if we did that in the 60s and cardiovascular is still not better, we think Ozempic's going to fix obesity? No.
Right. Because we're missing the root.
We're missing the root problem. And what's causing the issue is sugar, refined grains that are sprayed with all sorts of garbage, and seed oils. If we can eliminate those three things, which everybody in our program is already doing, but if we eliminate those three things, it's going to be that much better for our cardiovascular system. And I'm going to put on top of that, getting an exercise program. We're too sedentary.
Right.
We've got to move, whether it's, lifting weights or running or biking or whatever. We've got to move. Dancing.
I think you should take up dancing.
Pickleball.
Okay, I just saw a video, 90-year-old man playing pickleball with his 85-year-old wife. It was the cutest thing.
It was cute.
That's goals right there. But those foods that you're talking about reduce inflammation. So inflammation is the cause of cardiovascular issues.
So those foods that I talk about cause inflammation.
Right.
Causes.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm saying everybody says it's cholesterol that causes those things. And I'm saying inflammation is actually a more accurate cause factor.
Right. So inflammation is going to drive the injury to the vascular system that's going to cause cholesterol to patch wherever it's right. But there are some supplements you can take to offset this. Okay. So if you're trying to clean out your cardiovascular system, you'll look at healthy, a good omega-3, a good fish oil. And then there's one that I really like called Natazyme that is a nattokinase is an enzyme that actually literally chews up those plaquing. So if we're trying to clean out the cardiovascular system, I would throw those in there as well.
Awesome. So clean up your food, maybe take a few supplements, and move your body.
You got to move.
Awesome. Okay, so we could do all those things and have such a clean house and person.
Right.
Right? And then you would finish March on a really great roll. Because then, what's the hard part, right? People do this with their cleaning too. We spring cleaned, and why is it horrible again? Come the next month, right? So the goal is let this be your launching pad, and then just keep it going, keep the momentum going, so that we don't have this huge every year, wait, you shouldn't have to spring clean, right? Or hopefully we're cleaning all the time. So hopefully we're cleaning ourselves all the time in our environment so that we don't have to have a 1-month event each year. Right?
Correct.
All right. That's it.
Hey.
Get spring cleaning.
Catch you next time.